2026 has already been wild. I gotta keep it 100. We got dudes like Jim Jones out here speaking on Cameron and Mace. Yeah, he said they were never really in the streets, never had a name in the streets. And he's right. These guys were hooping, doing other stuff, until they got older, not playing ball anymore. But they really weren't known as vicious killers. He also had something to say about Dame Dash, yeah. He said Dame Dash was a lower-class hustler, inspired by Rich Porter. Yo, his shots are flying everywhere, man. Jim Jones isn't holding back. Oh, and before I forget, he said Cameron was scared for his life. Yeah, scared to step outside because of Big L's older brothers. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? We're on the road to 100K. If you're new here, or even if you've been around, smash that like button, subscribe, and make sure the bell notification is on so you don't miss when I drop a video or go live. 2026 is turning all the way up, and honestly, it's not looking good for a lot of people. The back and forth between Cameron, Mace, and Jim Jones, it's alive and well. And the friction between Jim Jones and Dame Dash, we've been seeing it all through 2025. Shots fired, going back and forth, but now it's reignited. Jim Jones is holding nothing back. He unleashed on Cameron and Mace, and he's going in on Dame Dash too. He's saying Dame Dash isn't who he's projecting to be. A lot of us know Dame Dash from the music industry, Rockefeller, bringing over Dipset. And I gotta be honest, when Jim Jones says Dame Dash didn't play a part in what they were doing, I'm sitting here thinking, wait, didn't he bring them over to Rockefeller? At the end of the day, is Jim Jones throwing shade? Pay close attention to what he says about Dame Dash. It gets messy. Right off the bat, Jim says Dame's impact on Dipset was nothing. Don't get me wrong, they were moving, making plays to get seen, but without Dame Dash's co-sign to Rockefeller, who knows how far it would have gone. Some might argue Dipset could have signed anywhere, I get that, but without the backing of Rockefeller and the connections from Def Jam, I don't think it would have reached the level it did.
Impact was in Harlem.
Dame impact in Harlem was nothing. Not to say it like that. Dame came up under hustlers that impact was it. He was a little dude when it came.
Wow. All right, I gotta drop some real talk for y'all real quick. So don't get it twisted. I'm from the east side too. Downtown, actually. Now Harlem's tricky. There are two sides, uptown and downtown, you feel me? Cameron, Mace, they're uptown, from around 40th. Jim Jones, he's from 115th and 5th Avenue, east side, but also downtown in his own way. We're all downtown in a sense, but it's a different energy. I've spent time on the east side too, so I get both sides. Harlem's split, east versus west, uptown versus downtown. And trust me, a lot of the time, those sides don't see eye to eye. So, when Jim Jones is speaking, he's making a kinda accurate point, I'll give him that. But when it comes to Dame Dash, nah, that narrative doesn't hold up. Dame Dash was out here stacking money in the streets, for real. When I was younger, he was getting real cash. The difference? He was an East Side dude. See, dudes like Rich Porter, AZ, all West Side guys, they were inspired to hit the East Side because that's where the money was flowing. You felt that? What cost $5 on the West Side? $10 on the East Side. So nah, don't come at me with that Dame Dash wasn't significant. He may have been smaller compared to the West Side legends, but he was out here making moves. I don't buy the he didn't do anything angle. He was definitely out of pocket and making power plays. Y'all pay attention to that. Don't sleep on Dame Dash.
Harlem, he wasn't not no Rich Porter, none of that type of. He wanted to hustle. He wanted to hustle for niggas like Rich Porter and shit like that. Damn.
Yo, that's wild. Right off the jump, that's a shot fired. He was trying to hustle for cats like Rich Porter. That's the energy he was on. And yo, I know Dame personally, grew up on the east side, been around those streets. And to keep it 100, everything on the east side costs more. A lot of west side dudes didn't venture east, and a lot of east side dudes didn't go west, you feel me? But if you're versatile like that, you can get to the heavy bag. That's why I believe Dame Dash, nah, he had a heavy bag. 1,199 days deep, he was stacking heavy on the east side. Then he migrated west to scoop an even bigger bag. I don't really get what Jim Jones is trying to say here, but yo, pay attention. There's more to this than it seems.
East side, when the niggas on the east side is different from the niggas from the west side. Now for the east side, Dame was a big deal to us because we were little and he was coming from the west side, little car, jewelry and all that. So when you're young, he's looking like Rich Porter, but in reality, you know, he was like this the nigga, go to the store, nigga, take a couple grams, get out of here.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, shots are being fired, no cap. Go hit the store, grab a couple grams, but I'ma keep it real with y'all. This ain't what I'm about. This ain't the Harlem way, you heard? Born and raised, I was out here early. Jumped up the stoop at 13, yeah. By 93, I was already outside making moves, stacking paper. By the time I was 15, 16, I knew how to flip one brick into two. So trust me, I know the hustle. And Dame Dash, he was heavy in the mix on the east side, no doubt. But when it came to the west side, I'm not sure if he was integrating his business or just testing the waters, but that's classic east side energy. Go west, get the product cheaper, bring it back east, make that extra money. See, a lot of people don't even know that. I'm very in tune with Harlem, so I see exactly how the streets move.
Away from him, you heard?
But with him bringing with him bringing dip in to the Rockefeller.
You're talking about two different things. You're talking about the streets and you're talking about the music and shit like that.
No, I was talking about the streets.
I'm not saying he wasn't a hustler in the streets.
Right.
You heard? But he wasn't the big dog, nigga. He wasn't.
All right, we gotta ask ourselves this. How many people were actually big dogs out here? Yo, not many. You know who the real big dogs are, bro? See, this is why a lot of these dudes ain't never really been in the streets. None of us were big dogs in that sense, you heard me? Those cats getting it off the block, that's the energy of the big dogs. Yeah, I had a Benz, I had BMWs, all kinds of rides, but that's just perception, all of it. When it comes to someone like Rich Porter, even he had to get bricks from somebody. That's the real definition of a big dog. And most of the time, the true big dogs were never really seen. You can tell when someone's actually been in the streets. And no disrespect to Jim Jones, but I think he's throwing mad shade here because he doesn't fully understand the streets. He's like 3 to 5 years older than me. When I was out there grinding, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't on that hustle. Yeah, he was running with a crew, I gotta call it like it is, but he wasn't a real hustler.
He just had a couple packs like everybody else in Harlem. You heard his name doesn't ring bells for being the hustlers in Harlem. He made a movie called Paid in Full. He wasn't in the movie.
Right.
His character was nowhere in that movie. So I don't want people to get up here and be like, yo, he's trying to do some. No,
Tell your man
nigga.
with a something.
He was just an actor.
Yeah,
in
the code. Yeah, you know,
the movie's about Rich Porter and all those guys. Dame was not a character in that movie.
Right,
he's not a Rich Porter. They didn't change Dame name to Kane or Kane. They changed.
All right, so Jim Jones is saying Dame Dash basically inspired dudes to be like Rich Porter and AZ. Now, I gotta push back on that because the East Side is a whole different world from the West. Real talk, on some real, the East Side was actually making more money than the West Side. I know that for a fact. I used to take work from the West, tell my cousin, load me up, I'm going east to get this bag. Yeah, Clinton, Carver, anyone over there can vouch. That's exactly what I was doing. I didn't even have to bag it up myself. People were already in position. When I was younger, I just grabbed the bag, transported it, doubled it up, flipped it. That's how I got it done. From 13, 14, until I got older and really knew how to turn one into two. So yeah, I got issues with this discrediting. Might get a little nasty out here, you feel me? I ain't holding back. Will Dame Dash respond to this? I don't know. But in the streets, Dame Dash was no pushover. Never heard him claiming to be a gangster or anything, but when I saw him, dude had the new BMW, the jury on deck, stacking money. We glorify the flashy East Side legends, Rich Porter, The Outpost, but Dame Dash, he was out there grinding, keeping a low profile. East Side knew him, West Side, not so much. West Side was all about showing off. So Jim discredits him? I don't know how far that's gonna go. And he didn't stop there. Nah, Jimmy went in on Mace and Cameron too. He said they were never really in the street, which, to be fair, is true. These guys were hooping, had careers before that, playing at the Riverside churches and in the leagues. But Jim also dove into the Big L story. We know Cam and Mace talked about Big L, and now Jim's talking about Big L's brother. And it all traces back to Children of the Corn, Bloodshed, McGruff, Big L, Killer Cam, Murder Mace. This is deep. Listen up, because what Jim said next, it got messy. Pay attention.
That, and then he excelled and he started getting on first and signed first, and then now help Cam and everybody get on and shit like that. But as far as making a name for themselves in the street, nobody had no name in the street like that. Had a name for himself. He was rapping early. He was signed early. He had some dangerous ass brothers. They was uptown really shaking and moving and shit like that. You dig? And that's not my part of town. I was uptown. Yeah, Cam used to be scared to death of them niggas to the point.